So this is something I was actually just talking about with Sharon after her last session, is that, you know, and I mentioned this before, that ultimately we're really trying to move service learning from a unilateral, I'm going to help you. You know, when I go and I lead AJWS trips in the developing world, the students often start off and say, oh, we're going to help those poor people in Guatemala. You know, right? We have this, and you know, there's this power dynamic. And we want to move away from that, just I'm going to help this person, to really be moved from pity to solidarity. And through reciprocal service, really to this ripple effect where there's relationships building, and it's a responsibility, but it's also really building respect and doing social justice work for other people is where we're really trying to move our students. And these are just some examples of a literacy action project that actually Aura and I both do at our schools, and a 6th grade memoir project that my students did where they wrote, they were studying voice, and they were reading a book called Seed Folks, and they were looking at voice, and then to study voice, they interviewed senior citizens, and they wrote a memoir piece in the voice of the senior that they visited. So it was meeting academic objectives for me as an English teacher to help the students learn about voice, but through, and then also meeting needs of seniors to really be visited. So it served both those purposes. And that's what we really want to do, is what are the skills and stuff that your students you want them to learn, and then how can they learn that through service? Yeah.
In terms of the reciprocal relationship that is so important, that this project that we did with the 6th graders, it was amazing to see, like, from the first day, it was exactly what Sarah said, like with the Guatemala example, they were going to help these seniors and talk to them. And by the end of the project, they were so excited to go and visit, and just like that reflection piece we saw, they were learning so much, and they were aware of that, and it was like really apparent. And it was amazing, the transformation, to see their mindset shift, that change in dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And oftentimes that takes, I think you're saying, because it takes more than one visit usually. That's why doing sort of less is more. When you can do, you know, more projects and create and go back to an organization or build relationships that are more continuous, it's a lot more effective.
So I'm going to talk about that in terms of this, which is the celebration of our 8th grade literacy action program. And celebration is another part of Jewish service learning, which is important, that I think we often don't get to, of celebrating what we've done. And this, our 8th graders actually go once a week to a local Mountain View school and tutor the kids from kindergarten to 5th grade. We do it together with Jewish Coalition for Literacy. We do a lot of reflection, weekly reflection, and then weekly going to tutor as well. And I think the kids also went there kind of saying, these poor kids, they don't know English, they live in very difficult situations. And I think by the end, and we do it for the whole year, they really were so excited what they had learned, including how hard it is to be a teacher, how hard it is to work with other people and to give of yourself, that it takes a lot of investment, and how that they could also enjoy being together. And this is at the end, they had a little party for us, and then together with the kids from the school, we went around planting flowers, and it was really kind of led and driven by the kids in the local public school.
Which is also a great example of the ripple effect, too.
Yeah.
So this is just in terms of how you design it. You're coming up with a project idea either based on some aspect of your curriculum or based on a need of the community. Really building relationships with community partners is really key, and that's what I spend actually a lot of time doing, is really building those relationships with organizations so that you can have really effective service. And it's not just about calling up and saying, hey, we're studying this in my class, we need to do this, but really creating a cooperative relationship with them.
And a long-term and sustainable one. I think it's very easy for us to kind of do those one-time things, but I think both Sarah and I really have understood the importance of sustaining it and keeping it going in some form, maybe differently every year, but still working with those agencies that we've built the relationship with.
And these are some sample projects. We don't really have time to go through them, but these are some of the effective projects that we found that have been really effective in terms of students really understanding and learning through the values.
So our first one is the All-School Community Service Day, which we just did at Hausner. I was coming from a place of kind of these mitzvah projects at synagogues, which I think have value but are often not sustainable and don't really go very much. And it's kind of like, okay, we did a mitzvah today, now we can move on. And I was saying, I don't want to do this in my school. But as I learned more about the culture of what I was trying to do and what would work, having an all-school community service day where every single class did something at the same time, starting with an assembly, then doing the learning, then doing the service, then doing the reflection, brought to our school a real sense of community, both of our own community, which we sometimes miss because we're all so busy in our classes, and the larger community out there. And having a first grader see that a seventh grader was doing something for Ronald McDonald House, and all the different things that they shared with each other, really made that, it turned me around in terms of these kind of all-day, one-day things. I think the difference is an all-school, and then you continue it on. And maybe that's what the mitzvah page is missing. So just...
Well, and also in having it differentiated, so each grade is doing something that makes sense or connects to their curriculum. Yeah, I'm gonna move forward.
Oh, lessons from the field.
So this is a pretty meaty slide, but these are the sort of things when it was great being able to do this conference with Oren, be able to put our heads sort of together in terms of what have we learned just in the short time we've really been doing service learning. And these are really the things that we've learned about the importance of it, of really teaching students how to live their life by using their Jewish lens as a way to inform their decisions is really key. And that really involving and empowering teachers, getting teachers on board. This is such a great way to encourage teachers to take leadership and to take on things. And you have to get teachers involved. You can't tell them what to do. You really need to get teachers excited about it in ways, and have them really feel empowered by it. To make it really spread in your school, getting really all stakeholders involved in it. And the youth voice piece is something really key, that students need to be a part of the process in the planning and the reflection, and it needs to feel like it comes from them. So today, we kind of told you, if I was going to do this with students, I wouldn't tell you, today we're doing this project, and you didn't get to choose what it was, but we're going over here and we're just going to do it, right? And you were involved in it, but if I was doing it with students, it would be much more integrated, and they'd be more involved in the planning stages and reflection stages, so they really felt like they were more empowered, and it came more from them.